The bard who is singing of Woollamby Jim is hardly just now in the requisite trim to sit on his Pegasus fairly. Besides, he is bluntly informed by the muse that Jim is a subject no singer should choose, for Jim is poetical rarely but being full up of the myths that are Greek of the classic, and noble, and nude, and antique, which means not a rag but the pelt on. This poet intends to give Daphne the slip, for the sake of a hero in moleskin and kip, with a jumper and snake buckle belt on. No party is Jim of the Pericles type. He is modern right up from the toe to the pipe, and being no reader or roamer, he hasn't Euripides much in the head, and let it be carefully, tenderly said, he never has analyzed Homer. He can roar out a song of the tuppenny kind, but, knowing the beggar so well, I'm inclined to believe that a par about Kelly, the rascal who skulked under shadow of curse, is more in his line than the happiest verse on the glittering pages of Shelley. You mustn't, however, adjudge him in haste, because a red robber is more to his taste than Ruskin, Rossetti, or Dante. You see, he was bred in a bungalow wood, and bungalow pith was the principal food his mother served out in her shanty. His knowledge is this: he can tell in the dark what timber will split by the feel of the bark, and rough as his manner of speech is, his wits to the fore he can readily bring in passing off ash as the genuine thing when scarce in the forest the beech is in girthing a tree that he sells in the round. He assumes, as a rule, that the body is sound, and measures, forgetting to bark it. He may be a ninny, but still the old dog can plug to perfection the pipe of a log and palm it away on the market. He splits a fair shingle, but holds to the rule of his father's, and, haply, his grandfather's school, which means that he never has blundered, when tying his shingles, by slinging in more than the recognized number of 94 to the bundle he sells for 100 when asked by the market for ironbark red. It always occurs to the Woollamby head to do a mahogany swindle in forests where never the ironbark grew. When Jim is at work, it would flabbergast you to see how the ironbarks dwindle. He can stick to the saddle, can Woollamby Jim, and when a buck jumper dispenses with him, the leather goes off with the rider, and, as to a team, over gully and hill he can travel with 12 on the breadth of a quillin boss. The unlucky offsider he shines at his best at the tiller of saw, on the top of the pit, where his whisper is law to the gentleman working below him. When the pair of them pause in a circle of dust, like a monarch he poses exalted, august. There's nothing this planet can show him. For a man is a man who can sharpen and set, and he is the only thing masculine yet according to Sawyer and Splitter, or rather according to Woollamby Jim, and nothing will tempt me to differ from him, for Jim is a bit of a hitter, but, being full up, we'll allow him to rip, along with his lingo, his saw, and his whip. He isn't the classical notion, and, after a night in his humpy, you see, a person of orthodox habits would be refreshed by a dip in the ocean. To tot him right up from the heel to the head, he isn't the Grecian of whom we have read. His face is a trifle too shady. The nymph in green valleys of Thessaly Dim would never jack up her old lover for him, for she has the tastes of a lady. So much for our hero. A statuesque foot would suffer by wearing that heavy nailed boot. Its owner is hardly Achilles, however. He's happy. He cuts a great fig in a land where a coat is no part of the rig. In the country of damper and billies,